Hello, everyone. Welcome to this very special, very random unplanned episode of A Beautiful Life. I didn't want to leave you all hanging on Wednesday's episode, on our last episode, and not address the whole gut brain axis thing. I briefly touched on it, but so briefly I didn't even connect it for you guys, which listening back, I was like, what in the world? What in the world was I thinking? But this particular topic is so interesting because it involves your second brain, like I said, your gut. So if you didn't listen to it or watch it, on Wednesday, we talked about the nervous system. We did a little bit of a shallow dive into what the nervous system is, the different parts of it, and that kind of thing. And I really wanted to break it into two parts to allow you guys to really digest the information that I had. And then looking over my whole podcast plan for the year, I realized that I didn't have an episode dedicated to the gut or this topic, probably because I talked about it in previous years before. And so I realized that I didn't really need to address it again. But I wanted those of you who are new to the podcast not to have to go and search for previous episodes when I talked about the gut, but I didn't talk about it regarding the nervous system. And so I didn't want to leave that on a cliffhanger. So starting off, did you know that you have a second brain? Crazy. The reason why the gut is called the second brain is because the gut is controlled by the enteric nervous system, which is another part of the nervous system we did not address on Wednesday. So the enteric nervous system is made up of two thin layers that contain more than 100 million nerve cells. That's a lot of nerve cells. And these cells run from your esophagus all the way down to your rectum. That's your whole GI system. The whole gut system in its entirety is comprised of the esophagus, stomach, small and large intestine, gallbladder, liver, and pancreas. The gut directly communicates with the brain, which creates that axis link. The main connection is the vagus nerve, which we talked about on Wednesday. So if you're interested in what the vagus nerve is, you are more than welcome to go check that episode out. All of the chemical signals sent through the gut-brain axis are directly affected by the gut's microbiome, which is why it's so important to have proper gut health and healthy bacteria living there. And again, this is why I deal with gut health above everything else, because you all know that I talk a lot about hormones, probably about as much as I talk about the gut, and that is because they are interconnected. Surprise, surprise, right? Not really. Those of you who have known me for a long time or study this stuff on your own probably already knew this, right? The endocrine and immune system, as well as the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. I don't know why I keep saying axis. I'm sorry, guys. So you can shorten that to HPA axis, are also involved in the whole gut-brain axis as well. This is why the process of dysfunction begins and often ends with the health of the gut. If it's improperly taken care of, everything else is going to follow suit. In fact, most neurological symptoms and conditions can actually be linked back to poor gut health because of this nervous system connection. Because your gut and your brain are so interconnected, it is important to always look at how the gut is faring before you look at any other issues. So many factors play into why the gut might be in dysfunction. This is something that I talk to my clients about. We do intake forms and in-depth assessments to make sure that we are addressing the proper reason why their gut might be dysfunctioning. But it could be as simple as antibiotic use, trauma in the womb or during birth, genetics, poor nutrition, infections, vaccinations, and environmental stressors. Plus, we also have to take into account the daily stress that we are all subjected to, whether physical or emotional, because it all plays a role in how the microbiome is responding in our GI system. Is it a good bacteria or a bad bacteria overwhelming the system? Finally, the enteric nervous system is also linked with how your emotions fluctuate. Anxiety and depression, and then stomach or bowel problems such as bloating, constipation, IBS, diarrhea, stomach aches, cramps, all that kind of stuff. It all is interconnected. So a lot of doctors, when they find out that there are neurological issues present, or if you have stomach or bowel issues, or if you have hormonal issues, ups and downs, a lot of time it is linked to how the microbiome in your gut is faring. So that's pretty amazing, right? It's incredible. Our bodies truly are some of the most amazing pieces of machinery because we really are machines, which is why nothing can copy our bodies and how they function. We are just so complex and created so beautifully. And I just love learning and sharing these things with you guys because it allows you to be in awe of how amazingly created you are, as a person, as a human being, with all of these complex organ systems and nervous systems, and it's just amazing. It blows my mind every time I look into things and how they interconnect. So, as always, I'm leaving you with this very short episode. So, if you have any questions, please reach out, do your research. I'm always there if you have questions. I hope that this episode answers maybe some questions that came up in the last episode. If it didn't, again, reach out. I'm always happy to answer any questions you guys might have. Until next Wednesday, I hope that you enjoyed this unscheduled, unplanned episode. Next Wednesday, we will be back to our regularly scheduled episode. But until then, have a beautiful life, everyone. Thank you for listening or watching.